The football field rises to meet the mesa. Indian boys gallop across the grass against the beginnings of their body. On those Saturday afternoons, unbroken horses gather to watch, their sons growing larger in the small parts of the world. Everyone is the quarterback. There is no thin man in a big hat writing down all the names in 2 columns, winners and losers. This is the eternal football game, Indians versus Indians. All the skins in the wooden bleachers fancy dancing. Stomping red dust straight down into nothing. Before the game is over, the 8th grade girls' track team comes running, circling the field, their thin and brown legs echoing wild horses, wild horses, wild horses. Sherman Alexie's poem At Navajo Monument Valley Tribal School connects elements of Navajo tradition with modern American sports. Echoed in the title and understood in the poem's setting, a tribal school is one controlled by the Bureau of Indian Affairs in order to integrate Native American culture into education. Considering many Native Americans were forced into government-run boarding schools during the early 20th century in order to assimilate them into the mainstream, tribal schools seemingly brought back tradition and culture lost through previous attempts of assimilation. We see this generational assimilation in transition when Alexie refers to the boys' parents in the stands as unbroken horses, a term generally used to refer to horses that are untamed, but when used here, the parents become the collective before American sports arrived to shape the younger. The eternal football game alludes to a Native American experience, one in which Indian versus Indian is a fight amongst each other in their own culture. This could be seen as parents versus their children or child versus child. Either way, the standoff represents a cultural shift. In the last stanza, Alexie compares the girls' track team to wild horses. His paralleled animal comparison throughout the poem illustrates that horses were vital animals for the Navajo Indians, and Alexie is showing how vital football is to both American culture and the Navajo, as it mirrors the freedom and vitality of horses. Though he views the energy and freedom of football as comparative to the native spirit, the poem documents normality and commonality, wherein the borders on the definition of the term American are blurred. Being native, playing football, and running track are all American. It's all intertwined and related, and we're all just simply American by principle. The poem isn't positive or negative about this assimilation. It does showcase common ground, sometimes bitterly and sometimes admiringly, but more so, it depicts the spot in time or a snapshot of this assimilation. Despite it all, though, the wildness of the girls' track team circles the boys who are being broken in to assimilate beyond the reservation if they choose. They circle and protect their brothers, somehow preserving themselves when mainstream practices could dilute their cultural strength.